Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melisa Caprio.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. How are you guys doing today? It's Wednesday. I love Wednesdays. I love doing my show. I hope everybody's doing well. I know we're in August already. I can't even believe it. And I'm sure a lot of you are getting ready for back to school. So, good luck with all that. I don't have to worry about that part. It's been, summertime. It's been hot. I hope you guys are staying cool. We're trying here. Thank God for air condition. I mean, that is the best invention ever. So stay cool, and we're getting ready to roll into fall here, which is my favorite time of the year. But today I have a really cool show. My guest is author Dana Sardano, and Dana was on my show. I think it was in March. I can't remember exactly. And I just love her so much. I just love her energy. She's also a Florida girl. She's going to join me in just a couple of minutes because we're going to be talking about a workshop that I'm doing. But Dana is doing a bunch of different workshops. So it's really cool what she's put together. So we're going to get into that a lot today. So just stay tuned for that. And she'll be here with me in just a sec. Okay. So to all my regulars, thank you guys for coming each week. You don't even know how much it means to me of you keep coming back to my show and listening to me and sending me emails. It just makes me so happy to hear that you are enjoying my show. So please keep coming back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, if you're just tuning in to me for the first time, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much. And I hope that you keep coming back, please. And, if you really like my show, please share it with your friends. If you're listening live today and you just want to know in the future, you can always listen to the replay. The shows are always put up for replays after the live show, and you can always find it on my podcast also, which is on Postcards to the Universe, and OMTimes Radio on their podcast. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about me if you're just discovering me for the first time. I'm a photographer, an artist, and I'm also an author. And I have a book. It's titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And all the photographs in the book are mine. I took all the photos. So in my book, I have 30 manifesting stories along with the photos that I took of the people who contributed their manifesting postcard they sent them to me, or they made them in a workshop that I did. And what a manifesting postcard, I guess the easiest way to describe it for people who are like, what is she talking about? It's kind of like a mini vision board. You put on your postcard something that you want to manifest in your life. You send it to me, and when that becomes a reality, you let me know, and we talk about it, how it manifested for you. So in the book, there's 30 of those stories, and I also have all these writing exercises because we need to really get clear on what it is we want to manifest because we're not always clear. Usually we have a feeling we want. We want to feel more joy. We want to feel abundant. We want to feel happy. So we want to look for those areas in our life to bring us more of that. So that's why we make the manifesting postcard. And I have really cool exercises in the book in the main areas, right? There's always the main areas: love, money, health, career. So there's a whole bunch of exercises I put in the book that we can all do to manifest more in those areas. So if you're interested in doing the inner work exercises and reading these people's incredible journeys of transformation, inspiration, and manifesting, please go and purchase my book. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And if you go into a bookstore, if you like going into, brick and mortar bookstores, they will order you the book if it's not already there. All right, so each week I ask everybody to please keep sending me manifesting postcards. And I know people are listening because I'm getting them. So thank you. Oh, please keep doing that. I know. So if you go to postcardstotheuniverse.com, I tell you on there how to make one, and there's an address listed on there that you could send it to me. And if you join my newsletter, I have joined my movement. If you go there and you do that, you will get in your inbox automatically tools and tips about, what to use for your manifesting postcard. And I also have another free gift, which is an 8-step manifesting process to manifest in any area of your life. So that's for you. So yeah, please join me. And if you, like me, I still do like Facebook. I know not everybody does, but I do. I have a group. It's called Postcards of Love. And we share funny and uplifting posts, and it's all good stuff. It's all feel-good stuff. So join me over there and just post anything uplifting and funny. Okay, so I'm going to bring Dana on. I'm going to read her bio right now because I've been talking. You guys have been hearing me talk about a workshop that I'm doing with her. Well, kind of, we're not co-doing this particular workshop together, but you'll find all this out. So let me just tell you a little bit about Dana first, and then we'll talk about what I'm doing and what she's doing. So Dana Sardano is the owner, resident artist, and intuitive at Ubuntu, gotta say that right, Fish Gallery in Stuart, Florida. She's a published author and co-founder, chief officer of curriculum at FindUniquelyU, the letter U.com. Dana has authored several books, all centered around personal growth and wellness. She wrote and illustrated her first book, Veda Finds Her Crown, a book centered around chakra health and development to help aid teachers, parents, and caretakers who are educating the whole child. She then authored 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment and Decoding the Woo Woo, an autobiographical account of her own spiritual journey, written with the hope of demystifying spiritual practices by presenting them in a practical and understandable way. Dana's goal is to act as a bridge between the mainstream and the metaphysical communities so that those on the quest for personal growth and development can do so without being deterred by sometimes fearful and biased conceptions of spirituality. She's offering a Meet the Author workshops based on 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment, Veda Finds Her Crown, and Decoding the Woo Woo at FindUniquelyU.com, which is an online learning platform designed for creators to connect and collaborate with their audience through small virtual workshops, interact with experts in their field for a fraction of the cost of working with them one-on-one, and creators benefit from sharing their content on a deeper level and seeing the impact they have in real time while participants benefit from their expertise. And I am one of the creators now who's doing a workshop on the platform. Find, F-I-N-D, uniquely, U-N-I-Q-U-E-L-Y-U, the letter U.com. Welcome, Dana. Thanks so much.
I am so excited to talk to you. As you're reading through my bio, all I can think, all right, Sardano, keep it together. Don't get all crazy. Focus.
Well, you have that creative energy too, and so it's like I know that we connected right away, like from when we met for the last time you were on my show, and
Yeah.
you know, we just both like have this creative spark, and we want to share it with other people, right? Because for me, I learn and I get so much when I utilize my creativity, and I know you do too, but let me let you explain what Find Uniquely You is, how that came about, and what you're offering, because I'm doing a workshop there, but there's many workshops, so I'll let you start.
Okay, so I just want to begin by saying that my business partner and I, Angela DeMarco, you know Angela, she and I have created a company called Uniquely Phenom Collaboration. And
Okay.
It's a marriage of FindUniquelyU.com and Phenom Publishing. I don't want to put too much time into the origin story because there were so many pivots. I mean, we'll need 2 or 3 hours. But I will tell you that we see the value of creators and what they're doing. Anything from content creators on social media to musicians to authors, mostly authors, right? And these content creators, you know this, you write a book, you put it out there, you're all excited because you know that what you have is special and it could help people. But how do you get it to people? And once they've read it, so you have a situation where you do the thing with the postcards.
Right.
But one of my books, probably my flagship, is 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment. I know people are reading it. I see the sales, the royalties.
Right.
I know people are reading it. But what happens is now we're intimate, right? Now you've got a piece of me, piece of my soul, piece of my guts, and there's really no interaction. And I want to see people's progress. That's why we do what we do. So Angela and I, we decided to take content creators. Sometimes it could be through people who publish books through us, but content creators who have something, who have a story to tell, who have want to connect with their audiences, want to take their content a step further and teach workshops. So we have these content creators. We have a Ready, Set, Teach program that I run to assist because maybe there's a content creator who's like, I don't know how to teach a class, and I walk you through this program. I'm a retired educator. I walk you through this program so you can have live, intimate workshops. I say intimate because we try to keep them under 25 people. Yeah. Intimate workshops. So now people who read your book can go the step further with the author. So you can connect with these people. So we could take this, a step further. So it's really exciting. And we have an awesome catalog, people who are all with the same purpose, doing the same thing, but it looks completely different for each of us, which makes it amazing.
Yeah. That is what makes it amazing. And I love the fact because you'll see, and I'm sure you come across it too, if you're just scrolling on social media, when you like posts, you see more of the similar posts. And I see a lot of people doing workshops, but a lot of times the workshops are pre-recorded. And you'll get the recording and whatever, if there's work that they want you to do also, and maybe they'll have a question and answer, or maybe a one-time meet. But what I like about this workshop specifically, and mine is titled, just for you guys listening, it's called Manifesting Through Gratitude, a Visual Journey. And my workshop runs Thursday evenings, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So it's 2 hours. I'm there with you. We're doing it we're in the comfort of our home. We're all online together, but I am participating with everybody in the group, in the workshop for the 5 weeks that it runs. And then we're going to keep rotating them over, but each workshop runs for 5 weeks. That's my workshop. So they vary slightly, right? You want to share a little bit about what some of the other workshops are and how you facilitate them?
Yeah. So just to, give you a little bit of the catalog, I teach workshops. I have 3 books that I've authored, and each one of those books I have created 4-week workshops, 8-hour workshops from. And then I have taken, because I understand that's a heavy commitment for some people, so I have taken some of the best parts of the books that I've authored and created little micro workshops, little intensives. So just as an example, I wrote a book called Veda Finds Her Crown, and it's a little fanciful story. It's really to help children with their emotional development, but I do it based on the chakra system. So I marry the spirituality and the practicality. So I write this little story, and then there's a workbook attached to it to assist, again, people in regulating their emotions. I initially wrote it for children, so I do a workshop for adolescents, but I also do the work because it's fun, it's colorful. I do it for adults, but I also have done an intensive for teachers and educators and parents who want to apply this to, either their homeschooling or traditional education. So that's just one example. But all of my stuff is all about personal empowerment in one way or another. But then there's Angela DeMarco. She does stuff for websites, building businesses, understanding your brand, because we are in, and I know that you understand this, we are in a time where people are starting to understand that there's more to life than what they've been told, what they've been served,
Yeah.
how they've been conditioned. And people are leaving relationships, leaving their jobs, moving on to the next thing. They're expanding upon their creativity. So what do you do? You're a creative. What do? You've been in this 9 to 5 for your whole life. So she's empowering people through the business aspect of the next step. And just to give you a couple more examples, we have another workshop or another facilitator who teaches people how to understand their own style. And she does it through the clothing that they wear and empowers them through clothing, which is really cool. And then, oh my God, stop me when you need to stop me.
No, I want you to, because I want people to, I want people to understand, because they're going to be hearing me talking about my workshop now all the time.
Yeah.
So I want them to understand where it's at, and I'm not the only one there, right? So if what my message isn't resonating with you specifically, don't just, still go and check it out, because there may be another that really does resonate with you, right? Because we're all creatives, right?
Exactly. And, there's a buttload of ways to skin a cat, right?
Yeah.
So we're all looking, right? I cleaned that up for you. But when you really, really break it down, we all just want to get our needs met. We all just want to feel good, to be happy, content, have peace in our lives. And there are so many ways to go about that depending on the individual. For me, it's communication and creativity. For somebody else, it might be clothing. We have another instructor she's got a course called Energy 101, and she's got another one called the Clairs, clairvoyance. And what she's doing is she's teaching people about energy and if they're into the metaphysical stuff, and then how to wake up their own special gifts.
Right.
That's somebody who teaches a course about how to address parents who have gifted children. And then there's you with gratitude. Oh my God, that's all comes to gratitude all day long. And you talk about the manifesting through gratitude. People throw the word manifestation around. It just means to get what you want, to take action, get what you want. And all of these, all of these workshops are ways to do that. So what we're doing here, if I may say so myself, but we're doing something so important for humanity. For humanity. Angela and I was like, for the sake of humanity, but for humanity at the time, because so much has become inhuman and inhumane. Yeah. And we're trying to bring that back through authenticity, through just, being, well, obviously that's authenticity, but being who you are and bringing it to the world without apology. And these workshops are an example of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because I don't think people okay, so we all know one thing. We all know we all want to be happy, right? We all want joy in our life. Universally, I don't care who you are. Everybody wants joy in their life. And you throw out the ever since that movie The Secret came out, some people roll their eyes. They're like, oh, the law of attraction. And they don't realize that we're constantly attracting to us the state that we are. So if we're walking around bitter all the time, we're going to be attracting things that keep us in that energy of bitterness or anger or sadness, right? So when I started with the manifestation and, wanting to be like a co-creator with the universe and consciously create what showed up in my life, which only came to me after being in a very painful situation, because that's usually what happens, right? That's when we want to change our life. I started to realize something is that with gratitude of what I already have, when I really felt grateful. Not pretending to be grateful, not just looking at my, I love my apartment and my home, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's so great, it's so cute. But I really feel it, more things would show up in my life. More artwork would show up, more aesthetic things that were pleasing for my home would show up. So something in me went, okay, I need to pay attention to this. what can I do to help other people understand? If we can tap into that energy of gratitude, it is the fastest and most powerful way to bring the joy that you are looking for into your life, period, exclamation point. Like, really, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's basically, in a nutshell, what the workshop is, right? Yeah. So to me, it's like, invest in your happiness and in your joy, because when you open up to your own world and see what you already have to be grateful for, and then you start to see and you tap into that energy, all those things that are going to start coming to you when you're really feeling that. And that's what I'm going to help you practice on a daily basis so that you can get into that feeling. You're going to be like, oh my God, why wasn't I doing this before?
Yeah. And can I add a little piece to that?
Yes, please. Sorry.
I just want to.
I'm so excited about it because I know it's amazing.
I know all of it, because I finally feel like the time is coming for those of us who do this kind of work, that we're like, okay, we're here. You ready? Oh, you're not ready yet. Okay, take that. Oh, you ready now? Okay. But as far as the gratitude, what you're saying is when you practice gratitude, more gratitude comes to you. I believe so strongly that we are always presented with everything we need, right?
Yes.
And whatever it is, it will show up to us. But what happens is when shitty, Miss Cruzy.
You could curse. You could curse on the show. That's fine. Yeah. No, you can say shitty. No problem.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So when shitty circumstances come our way, we immediately were like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's not what I need. But we don't realize that's exactly what we need, because the shitty circumstances are just as important to the beautiful or circumstances. So it's important to practice gratitude, as difficult as it is, for the shitty well, because all it is information. And that shitty information. You told me I could say shitty, so I'm just going to keep saying it.
Yeah, no, you can say it. Gotta say it. You're fine.
I'm like child. I can hear myself. But even in that information, it's alerting us to what we need to do. So the gratitude is not just for, oh my God, I love my home so much, and oh my God, this meal is so wonderful. It's this circumstance happened. I got fired from my job, and that sucks. But wait a minute. It's telling me something that I'm not right for this anymore, and it's giving me an opportunity to. So you said it perfectly, that it's not enough to just say you have gratitude; it's to really be it. And I talk about this in Decoding the Woo Woo, that our energy, belies anything that we say. I get smacked over the head, and I'm like, fine. No, you're clearly not fine.
Right. Exactly.
So honor that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. You have to. That's why I loved that statement the statement that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. And I didn't grasp it right away, because when you're going through something terrible and painful, and I always tell people, I am not one of those woo-woo people that minimizes pain. I don't think you should try to skirt over it and pretend it's not happening and live in, rainbows and butterflies. No, I'm not that person. So no. If something terrible or traumatic is happening to you, you have to process that grief. You have to go through it. But it's if you can look at it as life is happening for you instead of to you, you can look at, when you process the pain, what is this here to teach me? And where am I supposed to go now from here? And that's when your life can open up and shift in amazing ways. And, it's one of those things that the more you really sort of grasp that and understand that, it's like I just kind of remember the moment that I sort of really got what that meant. And it was after a terrible period of my life, and after the worst of the pain had already dissipated. Then I could look back and see how that was a gift and be grateful for that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Hindsight is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is, right? That's why they say hindsight is 20/20, because you'll be like, what the heck? Yeah. Now I see that.
But or at least what it's taught me is, when I'm in a situation that I don't have clarity, to just take a breath and really, instead of just reacting with emotion, really, really talk myself through it, because I know that in hindsight it's going to make sense to me. So when you understand, when you have the faith that I don't want to say everything's happening for a reason. Like, I don't want to punch myself for saying that.
Right, yeah.
There really is truly purpose in everything, and it's what we glean from it. But we can't glean anything from it if we're in a snit of emotion and we're not taking a moment to find the clarity.
Right. Well, and most of the people that listen to OMTimes, listen to my show and other shows here, are the kind of people that are asking those questions. That's why they're attracted to listening to this show, right? I mean, we know there are some people that are just not there, don't even want to question anything, don't want to ask the big questions, just like, want to wake up, go to work, eat, go to bed, like, just leave me alone. Okay, that's fine. That's where they're at. But for the rest of us, that want to understand and expand our lives and get to the deeper meaning, this is why creators like you and me want to do the things that we do. And this is also why I love doing this show, because I get to meet people like you, one of the people that I've met, and other people that I feature and interview on my show who are doing, like we said earlier, everybody's basically doing the same kind of work. It's just that the message is different from each individual person, but we're all like trying to expand and grow our lives. And it's so interesting. And that's why, like I said, Wednesday is my favorite day, because I love my show. But I want to, I see we're going to be coming up to our first commercial. So I want to take it now, because I wanted to talk to you more about this and some of the other things that you're doing when we come back. So why don't you guys stay tuned, and in just a couple of minutes, we'll be back. I'll be back with Dana. Stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Everyone has a story. I have a story. You have a story. We all have a story. As I see it, you have three choices. Allow your story to define you, use it to excuse you, or utilize it as a method to empower you. It's your life. You have the power. You choose. Rewrite your story on FindUniquelyU.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, Creating the Life You Crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives. Welcome back. So if you're just joining me, my guest today is author and creator Dana Sardano. So Dana, did you hear your commercial?
I did. You heard me chuckle. And then I heard yours. I'm like, oh, look how famous we are.
No, it's good, but it's interesting. I love the commercial because you talk about what's your story, right? So let's talk about that, because we all have a story. We carry stories. Stories are passed down, you know, from generation to generation. Like, so if our story is around lack, you know, lack keeps showing up in our life. We inherit that from our families, if that was their story. So I love the way that you put the commercial together, because you're saying, like, so what's your story? Like, what do you want your story to be? You know, do you want it to define you? And how do you want it to define you? Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. That is actually the first page in 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment. Because when I wrote that book, I basically used my life experience and my stories as support for the points that I was making. It was a very, very vulnerable book. Like I was not pretty in all of the stories. You know, but you know what? It was honesty and this whole idea that we all have a story. You know, when I went to college, my husband he stayed home when he went to college. When I went to college, I went about 1,200 miles away. And so his experience, he lived at home, was a little bit different. And what I did is, you know, you're hanging out with people in your dorm, friends, and whether you're drinking, whatever it is, you're hanging out, and everybody's telling their stories, always constantly in groups, telling their stories, sort of like, you know, campfire stuff, you know, you're telling your stories. And with every time I told one of my stories or my story, I evolved even more, because there was a level of healing, a new perspective in that shared story. And I didn't even realize through that experience, I evolved more as a human being. And when I met my husband and we talked about these experiences, I could actually see the difference in his emotional evolution when he was in his 20s versus mine. And what I realized, and with my partner, Angela DeMarco, my business partner, Angela DeMarco, what we realized is we all have a story to tell. We all have our own narrative. Who am I in the story? Am I the victor? Am I the victim? Am I, you know, this empowered person? Am I the benevolent soul? Who am I in this story? And then when we realize what our stories are and realize that maybe they're not serving us, maybe I am the victim in all my stories, maybe I need to rethink my beliefs about myself and the world around me. So the act of storytelling is the core of everything we do. You and I are talking about the online educational platform for the workshops. That's for people who are telling their stories, who are overcoming their stories, learning from their stories, and presenting their information. Again, mostly authors. But we have all these other arms. You know, we do a podcast called Going Commando. It's all about authenticity with your story. We have a publishing company, Feed On Publishing. It's for people who have, you know, overcome things in their lives and are ready to share their story to help inspire others. There are so many aspects. Oh my God. We're running on LinkedIn. Sorry. We're running on LinkedIn.
I was like, what? What happened?
You know, God, I get excited. I told you. But on LinkedIn, we're running a video series for people. It's called Those Who Rise and Shine, giving people the opportunity to tell stories that are under 10 minutes long and showcasing them, because it's the beauty of the story that connects us as humans. Yeah. And that's why we're here.
That is why we're here. And if your story, if your whole life, your story, let's say, because you said victim is victim, and you decide one day, I don't want that story anymore. I don't want that to continue to be my story, right? But you don't know how to change that. But you don't have to stay in that victim story.
No, rewrite it.
Yeah, rewrite your story, right? And so that's what I had to do, you know. I mean, I had an old story and an old life, and my new story now is while I'm talking to you right here, it is completely different than the people pleaser story, than the everybody else is more important than me story. Like, that story has been buried, right? I don't have that story anymore. You know, we're always evolving, and so it's kind of like when we get it, we can't help but want to share it, because I said this when I was being interviewed on another podcast. We don't need to go out and change the world. We don't need to do all that. That's too overwhelming. All you need to do is change yourself, because when you heal yourself, you automatically heal the world. And because if we all collectively did it, imagine what the world would look like, right? It would be paradise.
100%. I remember my father passed a few years ago, but when he was still alive, I remember him asking me, it was a real hot political topic, it was, you know, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, it was around that time. And he asked me, I remember we were at the park and my husband was standing behind my father, we had old school Guinea, you know, from Jersey. He said to me, what do you think about the wall? Right? And I'm like, oh my God. And Rob is just going to nod your head and say yes. He's behind him going, just nod your head. And I'm like, I love it. And he's like, so he's pursuing this. And I'm like, listen, I can't get into the politics. I'm not. And he said to me, how are you going to change the world if you don't follow politics? And I looked at him and I motioned to myself, and then I motioned to my children. And I said, this is how I'm changing the world. And in that moment, again, this old school guy from Jersey, and he got it. I saw it in his eyes. He got it. I'm like, how am I changing the world by getting angry at other people's actions? The only way I'm going to change the world is being the best version of myself.
Right. It's hard not to get angry, and it's hard. Like, let's just say it is, especially when you see injustices. But what happens is like anything else, is contagious. So if you're approaching the world angry about something, about an injustice, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't feel it. But if you keep going at the world that way, angry, it's going to keep coming back to you. More reasons to be angry, more things to be angry at, more fighting, more conflict. So you want to change it by healing those things inside yourself so that you can still approach it. It's not saying like don't just sit on your hands and do nothing. If you feel called for social justice, then absolutely that's what you should be doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way we approach things on the outside that bring back. So, you know, and that's why with the gratitude, why I wanted to do the gratitude is because I notice we're both, Dean and I are Italian, so we're very passionate. You know, the blood boils quickly, you know. It just does. So, you know, I notice that if I allow myself to go there for too long, it's a detriment to my emotional health, my emotional body, and it shows up in my world. It shows up in my world.
Yep. Yeah, it's truly something. It's hard to wrap your brain around it if you haven't made yourself aware of it. But anybody who's listening, if you just take a moment, and you could do it moment to moment at first, because everything is muscle memory. And how am I feeling in this moment? What does my circumstances around me look like? And just assess it, and you'll start to see. Like when I am going through whatever I'm going through, I notice my kids act out more. Why do they act out more? Because the energy that is coming from me is creating discomfort in the home. And so think about that. If my energy can affect two other human beings, I take that out into the world, it's amazing what we bump up against if we're not paying attention.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you don't even have to be saying anything to your kids. They can just feel it because we're so sensitive to energies. We can feel it, right? That's why everything vibrates. And we match what is in our, we vibrate to what's matching in our space. So, you know, that's the only way we can, right? We can't be at a higher vibration level and get those things that resonate at that level if we're not there, right? We're not there. There's a saying that we say in my family, and it just makes me laugh. We say penny wise and dollar foolish. And I'll give you an example. So people will, like, because you're talking about it in the sense with the workshops. So the workshops are not free, right? People have to make an investment. And I believe you're making an investment into yourself, right?
Yep.
So people will see a price and they'll get like all like freaked out, like, oh, no, I won't do that. But if they're going through something and they're trying to self-medicate, they may spend a fortune on alcohol or on retail therapy. Or you'll go out with friends to a dinner and, you know, you'll spend $400 or $500 for one evening out and not think twice about it. Yeah. And okay, and that might be great for the moment, but then where are you after that? Yeah. So that's why we say like penny wise and dollar foolish. So you won't have a problem spending on the money for a quick fix that'll give you that feeling of satiation. But when sometimes when you have to make the investment in yourself to do the real inner work where you're gonna get the lifelong benefits, people put up a sense of like resistance. You know, they'll see prices and they'll say, oh no, that's just too steep for my blood. But they don't see where they're leaking the money and spending it where it's not benefiting them. Does that make sense to you?
Oh my God,
do you know what I'm talking
totally.
about? Okay,
Totally.
okay, yeah.
What we do as human beings, we have coping mechanisms that we pick up from childhood for whatever difficulties that we've run across. That's what we learn, right?
Right.
And some of our coping mechanisms are unhealthy, and there's self-soothing and distraction. So it's true. I am always blown away at what people spend their money on because people aren't buying the thing. People are buying the feeling that comes with the thing, right?
Right.
And I think back, you know, talk about self-soothing. Some of my self-soothing food, definitely. Still, at the bad day, I'm like, cookie, must have cookie. But like I did all the partying, did the drugs. I'm not gonna lie, I did the drugs, did alcohol, all that stuff. And
I used to do a lot more too. Yeah, that was a coping mechanism for me. Yeah,
100%. Oh my God, promiscuity is another one. I'm not looking to call you out, but I'll speak to myself. Like all these things. Don't want to dine out, girl, but come on. So
I've had my moments.
With all of these self-soothing techniques. And here's the thing. I don't drink. This is not like a hoity-toity thing, but I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do all of those self-soothing things. And it's nothing to do with judgment on anybody. It's where I am right now because I don't feel the need to. And even buying stuff. Like, I don't even like to, like, shop that much anymore because I know, it's more stuff in my house. It's like Jerry Seinfeld, something like, when you buy stuff, you're just growing junk because at some point it's garbage. You know what I mean? Everything's recycled. So if anybody who's listening, you know, drinks or whatever the self-soothing,
whatever it is, right?
It is not a judgment. It's what it is. It's an opportunity to look at yourself and say, what need am I looking to fulfill with this? When I'm standing online at Publix or whatever shopping center and I see I have to buy the magazine, I have to buy the chemical, what is, because I'm only going to put it on my counter and not look at it. What is it about that I feel like I have to do that? When I have to take the selfies, like what am I looking to get from other people when I post them? And again, not judgment at all. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because I need some sort of a reaction or attention. So what am I lacking that I need that? It's just the question. Just ask yourself the question.
Yeah, no, it is. And it goes to what's your story. So if yours a money story, I mean, I know that I've had a money story and I'm working on, and I've shed a lot of that story. I wouldn't say completely, but I'm working on it, you know, a little at a time, but it's definitely shifted quite a lot. So, you know, I catch myself. So like I look at it as like, well, something like one of the workshops, like, well, I'm investing in myself. I'm investing in myself. Do I want to invest in myself? And then it shifts it for me because then I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, I totally want to invest it in myself. Why would I not want to invest it in myself? I wouldn't say that if a whole bunch of us are going out to a birthday party to a really expensive restaurant, you know, and I'll throw down my part of the check like it's nothing, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, right? And then so I go back to, okay, so if you can do that, I'll say to myself, then if I see something that I see down the line is going to benefit me, my spirituality and my personal empowerment and growth, then I start, and that's how I'm changing part of that money story that I've carried, that I've inherited from my parents, and they inherited from their parents. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the joke around the house, because I've talked to my mother about this, and my mom, retail therapy is her thing. And I go, penny wise, dollar foolish, Mom. Don't tell me you can't do this when I just saw what you just ordered. You know what I mean? And we laugh about it. It's like the joke, like, let's be smart. Like, what are we doing here? Are we nurturing ourselves, or we're escaping a feeling? And then if you're escaping a feeling, you want to ask yourself, well, what is that feeling that you don't want to address? And maybe now's the time to address it.
100%. I was thinking that when you were talking, I was thinking about how, it's like, oh, do I want to invest in myself? Versus, again, the $1,000 cell phone versus investing in myself, right? Right. And if your answer is, well, I don't know. If you're hesitant about investing in yourself, then you need to look into that as well. 100%.
Right.
Why? Why do I think I'm worthy? Because now we're back to those questions. Why don't I think I'm worthy? Where does this come from? Did I inherit this from my mother or her mother, and so on and so forth? And I keep going back to the same thing. We don't ask ourselves these questions enough because we're so focused on the minutia and the distractions and the chaos in our lives. And it's hard to see past that. But if you understand that there is something past that, and you take the time to look, you'd be astounded by what you see. Yeah.
And I think on some instinctual level, people understand and are afraid because they know, I don't know if everybody's ready to go there, because they know it's going to change them. And that you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for that. And I think that's a lot of times why we get so resistant, because there's an instinctual something deep inside our soul or whatever that tells us, okay, if you're going to do this, the shit's going to change. Right?
It's not only, it's going to hit the fan.
And then it's going to change.
I wrote in Decoding the Woo Woo, I talk about people's behavioral patterns, and I use the analogy of hermit crabs. And when hermit crabs, when they grow out of their shell, they go on a search for a bigger shell, and then they switch shells, right?
Right.
But there is a moment between shells that they're bare-ass naked, essentially.
Right.
And if there's any predator, if there's any danger to them, they will always run back to their original shell, because it's the devil they know, because the fear.
Right.
And we do that behaviorally. Yeah, we want to change and we want better, but in any kind of peril, for lack of a better word, it's the devil you know. It's like why people stay with exes or go back to exes, because of the fear of the unknown. It's just human behavior.
Yeah.
And there's no need for shame or self-loathing.
No.
We all know this. We all go through it. Nobody's special. Nobody's exempt.
Right. Nobody. We've all been there. We've all done it. We all continue to do it. Yeah, because if you decide that you want to change your life, you may have to end that relationship, or quit that job, or leave the state, or, a million and one ors. And, you have to be ready to take that on. And I believe that's why usually, not everybody, there are the few, but usually when our life changes is because we already got hit with the pain that was so tremendous that we were forced to change, right? We didn't have a choice because we just got it. The universe said, all right, I've been trying to tell you, you're not listening. I've been trying to tell you, you're not listening. I'm trying to tell you.
I know.
And then boom.
I refer to it as the SWAT punch in 10 Reds. I'm like, it starts with a tap on the shoulder, maybe a little, nod to the arm, maybe a tickle of a feather. Then it goes, universe gives you a good old SWAT punch to really let you know it's time.
Exactly. It's terrible. It's terrible to go through when you're going through it. But like we said, once you get through it, and if you're open to looking at the lesson there for you, because it's only for you to grow, and you can look back, you're going to be like, oh, I'm so glad that happened,
Yeah.
And so now what I want to do is I want to grow without having to have those painful lessons anymore. I want to be conscious about my growth. I want to be like, oh, okay, I'll listen to the first nudge. Let me listen to the first nudge.
yeah. But you know what? It does get easier.
It does.
You know anything about Buddhism? And there's the Four Noble Truths in the Eightfold Path. I'm not going to give you a whole history lesson. But in the Eightfold Path, it talks about right action, right meditation, right truth, right whatever. And they refer to it as a spiral staircase. So if you could envision a spiral staircase, you're always going up, but you're going in a circle. So you'll revisit something that you need to work on, but it's like damaged part of you light. You know what I mean? So you'll have that crushing dark night of the soul, and then you'll come around and you'll see it again. It'll look a little different, be a little bit easier. Yeah. And then you handle that, and then you'll come around again. And then after a while, it's sort of like a ping pong or badminton. It just comes out, you swat it, and it comes out, and sometimes you see it coming. And I mean, I'm not, by any means, living in this ivory tower, but I am starting to enjoy these little dilemmas because I've learned how to navigate them more fluidly.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Instead of being fetal.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of being on the floor. Right, being on the floor. No, I definitely know. And now, and because I've been doing over the last, at least 10 years now, so much work on myself, I can see, I can feel when it's coming. I can feel when I am becoming overwhelmed. I can see it. And I have the tools now to handle it, to process it, so I don't live there, anymore, and I can grow from it. Like I have these tools, and the tools I've gotten is by doing the kind of work that I'm doing and that you're doing, and taking the courses that we're offering, and reading those books, and working with other people who have already gone through it. That's why I have the tools that I have now. Because I've done all that before to get to this point. Yeah.
Yes. And you'll shed people who you're no longer in alignment with. But the beauty
and I have.
is, it's hard to do because there's loyalty and all these things. But what you do is you connect with people that you are in alignment with. They show up.
Right.
Look at the two of us.
I know. It's true.
People show up.
People show up. Who are like, oh, you're on the same wavelength that I am. And that's why it sounds so hippy-dippy, like from the 70s, like, we're like vibing together. But it's the truth. They kind of knew something, those hippies. It's just that everybody else, now we're all starting to catch up. Yeah, no, it's really, really, it's good stuff, man. It's like, and I don't know, I think once you get to a middle age point in your life, like you drop a lot of that stuff that was important to you when you're younger. I feel like there needs to be like more fiction books about middle-aged women, especially, who are going on these magical journeys and who are like having these whole new experiences. You know how they focus so much on people like just coming of age? I think middle age is another coming of age, like in a whole different way. A whole different way. Yeah.
I am actually right now in the process of editing a book that we're going to probably publish in the next few months. It's called Forever Connected, and it's a middle-aged man, actually, but he has his own dark night of the soul, and he writes, it's this beautiful novel. It's like
I'm excited to read it.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And I'm not an avid reader. I'll read if I can learn something.
I am an avid reader. Like, I have to have another book lined up before I'm finishing a book before.
Oh my God,
I am a huge reader.
Good.
Yes.
So good. The best compliment that I gave him was that if I wasn't tasked to read this book, because it's my job, I would read it anyway. Like, I'll text Angela every 2 chapters. I'm like, it's so good.
I can't wait to read it when it comes out. That sounds amazing.
But it is about, the midlife crisis, and he had this dark night of the soul, and he made a choice to go through the healing process, and how he started questioning all that he's learned, all of it. I don't have to tell you what it is. Beautifully.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. I think we need to look at it as an opportunity, not that our life is over and that we're just barreling down to old age. I think we need to look at it as an opportunity. It's for a new adventure. So, oh my God, Dana, I can't even believe it. We have like 2 minutes left. So you want to share anything that we, about FindUniquelyU.com, about what people should do, or, I'll just give you the mic.
Yes, I definitely think that if if anybody's picking up what we're putting down, definitely check out FindUniquelyU.com. It's the U, the letter U, because it's not just about workshops. It really, the workshop, definitely check out Melissa's workshop.
Yeah, definitely check out my workshop.
Gratitude is the attitude, but definitely check that out. But there's other workshops. If the workshops don't speak to you, there's sort of arrows with other opportunities. Again, there's the Phenom Publishing. If you have a story to tell, there's really this huge umbrella, and like I mentioned earlier when we opened, of people just wanting to connect with one another, people that have stories to tell, people that want to inspire and be inspired. And wherever you fit in as an instructor, you fit in as a what do you call it, a purchaser? What would you call
a workshop participant. A workshop participant,
I'm so eloquent, a purchaser. But workshop participant, whatever it is, connecting with people and really, again, celebrating the human and humanity, because that's what the world needs right now.
Oh, definitely. And it's fun. See, the thing too is, when you work with creatives, right? This isn't like, like a, physics workshop, where you're taking a lot of notes and it can be boring. This is like, we're creative. So we make our workshops a lot of fun. And I believe that you retain the information. You get the aha moments. It sticks with you when you're having fun doing it. Learning through fun is so important. And you're going to get so many aha moments. Dana, I can't believe it. We're out of time. I had so much fun with you. Thank you so much for being on my show today. And guys, please check out my workshop, Manifesting Through Gratitude, and all the workshops at FindUniquelyU, the letter U.com. Thank you, Dana. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.
Goodbye.